DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts. I'm your host, Rudo, joined by AJ Hafley to talk a little bit more dev camp today. Day 2 is in the books. All right, first of all, look, day 1 was for tempering expectations and remembering that these are all kids. Day 2 is for hyperbole and getting the hype train out here, okay?
Day 2 is for wild overreactions because day 1, everybody's just back in the rink. Day 2, we see the future.
Exactly. Now we're all busting out our crystal balls and getting into it. So
why you gotta talk about balls already? Minute and 43 into the show, and you talk about balls?
Look, I have an expectation that I have to set. All right,
unbelievable
on this show.
This guy.
Should we start with Sampo, or do you want to start with Group 1?
We'll save Sampo.
Okay. All right. Let's start with the morning stuff first, I guess. Well, it'll all get muddled, but in the morning, the group that went second yesterday went first today. So that left you with a weird
It felt like we were sleeping in.
Yeah. There was a lot of skating today. Like a lot of skating.
Yeah.
But
you ever watch something and your brain shuts down so thoroughly that you're sleeping while wide awake?
Yes.
That was watching the forward skate this morning.
It did feel a little bit like that. They at least got to shoot some stuff on the second half. It was an interesting morning, I do think. With that group, it ended up being it was the Ranta Foodie Beaujoc group that won the morning. So the skating was fine. It was one of those weird things. I will say with Foodie, it was a little bit funny because in some of the drills, it felt like he was struggling with them a little bit, almost because skating comes so naturally to him that it's like when he actually has to stop and think about it, it like almost messes him up a little bit because he's like, what do you mean I need to think about this thing in the drill? I normally just do it.
Yeah, and we've seen in the past, really good skaters struggle in some of these drills because these drills are designed to break down their stride to the very, very basics. So if there are maybe some bad habits or some quirks that have been developed that even though those exist, he's still a great skater. You see guys and it's all designed to make these guys uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And to try and retrain certain areas of them. A guy like Foodie doesn't really need it, right? Like he's fine as a skater. But this really helps the guys like Beaujoc.
Yeah.
That really need some help with their stride, some help with their balance, where their skating is still
the mechanics
going to be a problem.
Help them squeeze every little bit out of it that they can to get it to a certain level.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas, with Foodie, like, sure, maybe you see him struggle in a drill, but then they cut him loose to skate down the ice, and he just goes, shoo.
Yeah.
Like, all right, fine, yeah.
Yeah. And we did, what I like today is we did get to see, guys opened it up, and you got to see a lot more like individual edge work, not necessarily the ice dancing video that I posted, but a lot of different edge work was done today, and that was enjoyable to a degree. Otherwise I spent the day watching defensemen.
Yeah,
on the other sheet because they were working on actual stuff that I care about.
Yeah. AJ on the defense today. I took the offensive side in that group. It was an interesting day. I do think on the whole, and AJ, we were talking about this at the rink, it's been one day and you can already tell the competitiveness level ramping up pretty quickly at this thing.
Yeah, and the first day back is always kind of like that. They take it a little easier. Guys are kind of finding the rhythm, haven't been on the ice as much. second day, all right, this is a familiar routine. And they start to get a little sick of each other. These guys are competing for things, for jobs, for futures, all kinds of stuff, right? Yesterday, there was a lot of gentlemanly conduct. Some guys that have never met each other before. And then today, it was kind of like, all right, I've spent the last 48 hours kind of around these guys because they go to the meetings together. They're on the ice all day together. They're in the groups together.
They're together, yeah.
Yeah, they do their meals together. And then when they get done, it's like, okay, what are these guys going to do? Go hang out with all their friends in Denver? Yeah, no, they're going to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
So they're starting, the competitive side of these guys is starting to come out a little bit more. And they did some work today that obviously designed to bring out certain elements of that. And we definitely saw it.
Yep.
It was good.
Today was
a good day. Today was a good day for a lot of reasons.
Agreed. It was a fun one. Yeah, an interesting day. Let's start with Beaujoc here, actually, because I think his day was pretty interesting. Obviously, you already mentioned he's never going to look good in a skating drill. Full stop. His skating is one of his weaknesses, but you saw him, especially in the practice in the afternoon. There's a reason why people like this kid, and yes, he has a great shot, but it's also when you let him open it up a little bit, his skating looks functional. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. So when you're breaking a guy down to his most basic level, like Beaujoc's skating absolutely just does not look great.
Yeah.
But when you get him into hockey settings and he starts doing, okay, what's the kind of skating he's going to be doing in game? He's in transition. He's in open ice. He's getting up and down in ways that he would in a game. His skating takes a big leap forward, and you're not sitting there like, Jesus, this is a disaster.
Yeah.
It's a lot more functional. And I think it's taken a pretty big step forward from what we saw of him a couple of years ago. When we saw him in actual like game type situations, his skating bothered me a whole lot less than some of the other aspects of his game that, we're nitpicking drills here, so
obviously,
major asterisks here.
On both sides,
I did,
bad, yeah,
I did like what I saw from Beaujoc a lot more with his skating as soon as they really opened it up.
Yep, and that it was nice the afternoon practice to see a little game like scenarios. I guess you got to definitely see. The kids feel, or at least look, a lot more natural than trying to run a specific drill over and over.
So, yeah, and like a drill where they're balancing on like 1 foot and
doing all this weird stuff. Yeah,
they look like weebles, right? Like because it's all just like a bunch of wobbling, and then you get like maybe one guy in the group who actually does eat it. You're like, you're no longer a weeble. You disappoint us. So once, other than that though, like Beaujoc was fine. I liked it. It was a good session for him today.
Yep. I mean, there were a lot of good sessions, honestly, especially the bigger names. I don't think very many struggled too much, especially in the afternoon. But yeah, working through that group, you also have Foodie there. He looked a lot better in the afternoon because all of a sudden you give him opportunities to play in situations where he can be a pass first player.
They started playing hockey, and all of a sudden Foodie, because like through 2 mornings worth of drills and stuff, Foodie's just kind of been all right. He's just kind of been a guy.
Yeah. But I mean, you look at him and all of these drills either end with it's just skating or turn into the goal and shoot the puck.
Yeah.
And we already knew Foodie's not going to look great shooting a puck. So when you let him play hockey and all of a sudden he's trying to thread passes and do stuff like that, that's where he starts to come out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that little backdoor pass that he made to Beaujoc.
Yep.
Where it was like,
just thread that.
I don't think that's the last time we see that this year.
Little AHL chemistry, baby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were running Ranta, Foodie, and Beaujoc together.
Yep.
And it was like,
that's a little bit of a line right there. That's a little bit of a line.
Yeah. Is he so Bowers is he pretty much a roster lock for the Eagles? Absolutely.
Yeah. I'd say he's absolutely not a roster lock for the Avs.
That he's at this camp at all
pretty much shows that
he's got a lot of work to do. He's got a pretty lengthy climb ahead of him.
With that being said, he did look very good today.
Yeah.
Rock solid. A pretty interesting thing too. It's something that I like to watch is who are the communicators out there.
Well, you definitely want to know. It's meaningful every time a guy, the guy that they use as examples for drills.
Yeah.
And then when players start to break up, you see certain guys take control and start just directing traffic. You here, you there, that group there, that group there.
Yeah.
And Shane Bowers was like, he's an on ice coach at this point.
Pretty much. And like, but you have comparisons too, right? Like you have Bowers who's essentially coaching to a certain extent on the ice with the team, but then you also have guys like Foodie who's always chatting up who's ever's next to him in line, or guys like Byram who's chirping at every imaginable opportunity to chirp anyone. So
yeah.
So it's
watching Byron give the other defensemen the business when they mess up on drills is kind of funny.
But it's nice to kind of see, especially like you said, day one, everyone's kind of getting to know each other. Day two, you start to see a little more personality come out for some guys. And
yeah, well, they start to get comfortable around each other.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, here in troll mode today.
Yeah. He was putting up all the memes. So
yeah. It was. I liked the afternoon a lot more. The morning was kind of like. I will, just from the defenseman.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. Hang on.
No Byram? Okay.
We'll talk, but I need to hit up Breckenridge Brewery before we talk about defensemen, because you know what? Pour one out for the defenseman today. Especially in the afternoon session when you're a kid coming out of juniors, you look up and you're against Newhook, Bowers, and Lausoun all put together on a line, and you're about to go for a ride. Let me put it that way.
Nate Clerman's he was like, yo, I didn't see anything like this shit in Notre Dame.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
What is this?
So pour one out for the homies on defense. Get some Breck Brew. Hit them up online. Find a Breck beer locator to find it at a local liquor store near you. Also check out their 8 beers on tap at the bar. The Good Company hard seltzers. They got you covered. Breck Brew's dope. Go check them out. And then find Green Mountain Dental Group just 15 minutes from downtown over in Lakewood to make sure you're taking care of your teeth. They're super great dentists, and if you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam with them, you get a free Sonicare toothbrush so you can take care of your teeth a little bit better at home as well. Excuse me. I also don't want to spoil anything, so I can't say anything specific just yet, but we got some pretty cool stuff we're planning on here in the lead up to the season. So now would be a great time to sign up for a membership at DNVR. Get the annual membership. Obviously, you get access to all of our content. Plus, you get a free t-shirt. You get big beers at the bar. You get a bunch of other cool stuff like access to the DNVR lounge as well. So check us out. Support us. We think we're pretty cool. Hope you guys think we're pretty cool too. AJ doesn't think we're pretty cool.
We think we're pretty cool.
We do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a weird way to put that.
Fair enough.
We're so cool.
Plus, you got to sign up for DNVR so we can dunk on our PHNX buddies and be like, look at all the dudes we got signing up,
It's true. They had all that fun last week. It's our turn to go back to
exactly
showing them how it's done.
Welcome to me, and now it's back to business.
Yeah.
All right. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Let's get into it, AJ. You watched a whole lot more of the defense than I did. So, Byram, Barron, what's up?
So they worked a lot on defending without sticks. They did this both in the morning and in the afternoon. So it's all positional. It's all about forcing without using a stick as a crutch to knock pucks away and stuff. It's all about physically forcing guys to the outside.
It's Sam Girard's worst nightmare.
Don't let them get inside positioning on you. Don't let them skate by you. Outside of the very first attempt, when Byram just clearly wasn't ready. But I wasn't expecting somebody to come at him that fast. But Cal Burke chewed him up,
straight torched him out. Yeah.
But as soon as that was done, Byram went back to. He elevated his game to a level that you were more comfortable seeing.
Yep.
And like, it's really difficult to judge a defense because like he's not allowed to play with this stick.
Yeah,
so
right.
this isn't super relevant hockey game situation stuff. It's something very specific that they want them to work on. Well, but he doesn't have his stick.
It's just super magnifies positional work, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't just use your stick if you're beat to poke the puck away or something.
Right. And that's an area where Byram especially is really, really good.
Yep.
And we saw when he did get his stick back, Klarman actually got a couple of sticks on pucks too.
Yep.
But the two guys that that are in a group together, obviously keeping the closest eye on Byram and Justin Barron.
Yeah.
Byram was fine. He has done this drill before. He's done this camp before. He kind of got the gist of it. He understood what was being asked of him and picked it up really quickly. Was really comfortable with it. Not a big deal. Barron, on the other hand, it was raw at times. There were some moments he struggled to keep his feet in transition. When he got going backwards, he was fine. When he was going side to side, he was fine. When he had to either transition into backwards skating from forwards and because there was one where they swapped sides and like Byram had to pick up the right and Barron had to cross over and transition into taking the left, and he just ate it.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of different occasions where Barron was the guy that just lost his footing today. Yeah. Now, might just be a toe pick, might just be a guy, just falling down. Just a bad luck that had happened to him on a couple of occasions, but that they were all in transition and involved him transitioning into backwards skating.
Yeah.
Is something that I will want to keep an eye on now that I wasn't super worried about going in. Rex is kind of vocalizing how I felt watching it.
Exactly your concern is a little.
It was just something to keep an eye on because he did lose the balance a couple of different times, and then in the drill he bit on a couple
of the shimmy shakes.
Yeah, and he bit when they were doing the D on D drills. Like he's biting on head fakes from guys like Graham Sword.
Not great, yeah.
Where you're just like, there's not an overwhelming amount of puck skill coming at him right now, and he kind of bit on it.
It's taking the bait at that point, yeah.
When they got into the actual hockey situations and not these highly specialized drills, he looked a whole lot better to me.
Yeah, well,
big surprise.
All of a sudden, you let him use the body a little bit, and poor Benjamin Tardif.
Yeah, Benjamin Tardif challenged him on the boards and
did not end well for him.
Yeah, Barron shut down that gap, closed it immediately, and smoked him into the wall.
Yep,
and that was the end of that drill.
Yep. So. And I know we've said this multiple times on this podcast already, but to reiterate, this entire camp is going to be kind of put in a box off by itself to a certain extent, because every single thing they're doing at the camp, even the game-like scenario drills, they're asking these guys to do very, very specific things.
Yeah, and all of this is going to be negated by what happens
over the weekend
at the tournament. Yep. So it's all good and well today, all these performances, all the showings. Anybody that's doing well, it all goes out the window if they have a poor performance in the actual games this weekend.
Yep.
Anybody that struggles, it's all forgotten if they go out and they play well.
And they beat other competition at a tournament where you're playing against an opponent. Yep. It's that simple at the end of the day.
Yeah. And, with Barron, it was certainly from just like a drills perspective, it wasn't the performance that you would have hoped for.
Definitely.
But to be honest with you, this is not a setting that defensemen have ever looked good.
Yep.
The first time Drew Hellison, I think the only time Drew Hellison has, when he came right after he got drafted, and he came to their dev camp, which they usually hold the week after the draft.
Yeah, right away.
He was real bad, doing a lot of the same stuff that they were doing. He was really bad.
Yep.
Cale Makar struggled. Connor Timmins, both of those guys struggled
in the drills for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Timmins obviously with the concussion and stuff, his was more training camp related when he actually got into him. But Makar especially, like, he was not notable until they put him in game situations, and
then he was entirely noticeable.
Yeah, well, and then he turned into Nightcrawler and just started teleporting behind people, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is different.
Yeah.
But in drills like this, there was a lot of work.
It didn't pop.
So I don't want people to feel like they have reason to be down or reason not to be excited or reason to be even worried about Barron or Byram, or I guess if you're really stretching it, Nate Klerman.
Yeah. There's no panic buttons here. That's for sure. Yeah. The tournament will be broadcast on the team's websites. So if you just go to the Avalanche website, you'll find the Avs games there.
Yeah. And to Jamie's point here, the Avs have gone to this tournament a number of years, and most of these games are really low scoring because the majority of these rosters are full of ATOs, ECHL players, older junior players that are like leading men on bad teams.
Yep.
Like the Sasha Mutala types.
Yep. This year is, I think, by a pretty wide margin, the best roster the Avs have sent to one of these things.
Yeah, they've got 5 first-round picks, Sampo Ranta, and like Eustace Annan and a Trent Miner in net. Like they've got some guys that you're really actually like.
This is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, they're top 6. That top line of all first rounders.
Yeah.
And then you have Ranta and Foodie and Beaujoc. You have your third rounder line. You've got Byram and Barron on your defense, and then you've got Annan and net.
And
like that's a formidable group.
Wenger-Lee behind that, who we haven't even talked about yet. But
yeah, so no, I don't think that the Avs have really been bad at these tournaments. They play a lot of low scoring games.
Yep,
and it's been boring more than bad, and it's a good reminder that these tourneys are usually slog fests.
As an example, so today they finished their morning session, and then the Avs had their captains practice with the actual NHL guys come out after. And the difference in speed between the rookie camp practice and these Avs dudes was just, it's like everyone on the Avs practice, the lowest guy on the totem pole looks like a superstar compared to the rookie practice. Yeah.
Ryan Murray goes out there in captain's practice, and I was like, who is that guy? What is that? And like Mikhail Maltsev's like flying down the ice. I'm like, these guys are incredible. Like it was It was such a culture shock.
A very stark reminder of the difference there. Yeah.
Artem Anisimov is definitely big, but I don't know how well he's moving.
Yeah. In any case,
yeah,
not the topic of today. I did want to touch on Wenger-Lee really quick because I did think he had a very good day of camp. It's a weird spot for him, right? Because he's 23. He's a little bit older than the rest of the kids here, but
yeah, been playing pro hockey
for a while now. Yeah,
it kind of shows.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that I really liked about him is that he looked like an older guy, right? When he's going into a drill where other guys are pulling it to the forehand, he'll take the backhand shot. Where other guys are catch and release, it's a one-timer from him. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, the drills I didn't care about with Wenger-Lee today. It was when they got into the 3-on-3 and the 2-on-2 stuff.
He was dunking some kids a little bit. Yeah,
he's playing on this really weird line combination with like some random guys.
Yep.
And every single time it was like, dude, is that 6'3" again?
Yep. 4, 5, 6 times in a row. It was like, oh, he's doing something.
Yeah. He's got a real snappy low wrister.
Yeah.
He's done everything to get us to the where it's like, definitely going to keep an eye on him in game situations. It looks like he's odd man out in the forward core in terms of playing with like the big guns. Which just really just gives him more of a chance to shine, I think.
Yeah. Carry the load a little bit for whatever line that is. Yeah.
Exactly. His success is going to be a lot more because of things that he did and not because like, oh, well, he was playing with Newhook and Bowers. Of course he was good. Like, those things that you talk yourself into and you're like, oh, well, he looked good, but, and then you let the butt take over.
Yep.
A fun statement to say out loud.
All right. And I'm the reason that this podcast is adults only. Come on.
Minute and 42 in, talking about balls.
It's not even on the list today, so
yeah. Wenger-Lee today. It was his work in the drills or in the afternoon when they were in a lot more game situations and they were really getting into, and especially when they got into the sort of 5-on-5 stuff. It was really like 3v5 because they were forechecking a breakout, and that was where he immediately, for his line especially, which is a little undersized, which obviously he is already, but he immediately disrupted things. He got in there and he's very comfortable disrupting with a stick, knowing that he is not a physical specimen.
Yeah, he knew right. He knows exactly how he has to play, right? He's got to be quick. He's jumping into the action. He's jumping out of it. He's not going to play physically into anybody, but that's fine because he knows how he has to do other things to make it work. So, yeah,
and again, I think he has done everything that has been necessary to get us excited and get us intrigued by what's next for him.
Yep. Which, this tournament is one thing, but for someone like Wenger-Lee, you're looking pretty heavily at proper training camp as well.
I'm not sure I understand this comment.
Yeah, I don't really get that one either, right? Like the Avs have turned plenty homegrown prospects into very quality stuff.
Yeah, as Avs fans, we need someone like Ranta to step into the league and turn into a star. It's something that hasn't happened in a very long time, or if ever.
I don't like McKinnon, Makar.
Yeah, I'm just not. Do you mean like a mid-round pick? Because, yeah, I mean, obviously they've struggled to produce NHL players of any kind. With mid-rounders, if you want to call a mid-rounder or third-round pick a mid-round pick, it's drafted like 60th. So
yeah, I
guess I'm just not. I'm not sure.
And let's be honest, like for a third round pick, realistic expectations are not of that dude being a star. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like, does it obviously it helps Tampa Bay that Braden Point turns into who he is, but it helped Colorado that they had Ryan O'Reilly
yeah,
in the second round
right.
and
And
Tyson Berry in the third round and Paul Stasny was a second rounder. Like, they've gotten guys in rounds beyond the first. It's just had to recently. Obviously, it's been problematic.
Well, and that's the thing too is right. Like, it's been a decade since they've had a second rounder or later play 100 games for them, but Connor Timmins easily would have if he was still an Av. They just made a decision there. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah, but they've also balanced that. We've talked about this a bunch. They've balanced that by getting an abnormal number of their high picks right.
Yeah, they've crushed the first round.
Right.
Much.
Because you look at them turning high first round picks into star players, and they've done it basically better than anybody else.
McCarr's done it. McKinnon's done it. Miko did it.
Yeah. And Landeskog has turned into like a very, very high level player.
Prime captain. Certainly hoping that, Byram and Newhook are on their way.
Mm-hmm.
And even Tyson Jost, he's not a star player, but they've turned him into a quality NHLer.
Yeah. And like with Jost, you look at some of the guys behind him and you're like, they kind of missed.
It's fine.
That.
Yeah.
It's like a single instead of a triple or a home run.
Right. Exactly.
And but yeah, anyway, this camp is it's got guys in it that could there's not many guys that you're ever going to have in your system that are star caliber of talent.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I think there's only a couple in this camp. I think it's Newhook, it's Byram, and it's probably Ranta.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that there aren't other quality players hanging around in this camp. That those guys are the ones that are likeliest.
It's nothing against those guys.
NHL stars.
Like, if you watch this podcast, AJ and I both think Bowers is NHL ready today, but we're putting him in a bottom six role. Like, that's just reality.
Yeah.
So hard to call that a star caliber player. But on that note, thing a lot of kids have to do when it comes to dev camp, training camp type of things, they got to put some meat on their bones. So Hassel Cattle Company can help with that. Go get yourself some good old beef or get the super nice Wagyu beef. Either way, they got you covered. Hassel has tons of amazing stuff, whether it be their Wagyu beef burgers. Absolutely delicious. You can find those down at the DNVR bar. You can also get all of their amazing steaks with the tomahawks. They got ribeyes. They got bone-in. They got sirloin. They got you name it. They got all sorts of amazing meat. So check out Hassel Cattle Company. That's HASSELL cattlecompany.com and use the DNVR10 promo code for 10% off. Plus, if you order over $200, you get free shipping as well. Super awesome. Check them out. Then hit up Solace Meds once you got your meat. Maybe you want to go give yourself the munchies before you cook it. Solace got you covered on that. They have a bunch of good deals in store ranging from 15 to 25% off. Of course, you can check out online for pickup as well. Use code DNVR20 to get 20% off your entire purchase there. If you use the Wheat Ridge location, you can also get yourself a free King Cone just for going in, getting yourself some cool stuff. They have 4 locations here in Colorado, including one up in Fort Collins. So if you're anywhere in the I-25 corridor, hit up Solace Meds because they got you. Last but certainly not least, we also have Strava Craft Coffee. The CBD-infused coffee helps with migraines, aches, pains, all sorts of stuff. We also have that cold brew down at the DNVR bar. Cold brew is your thing. If not, go to StravaCraftCoffee.com. Get 25% off when you use code DNVR25 from your first purchase. And then when you love it, you can get 20% off for life when you get their subscription service as well. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. AJ, you kind of alluded to it there, but should we get to the title of this show? If you're jumping on the hype train, if you're ignoring the reality that this is just a dev camp with drills, has Sampo Ranta had the best 2 days of dev camp of anyone in the history of Avalanche dev camps?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it's that far off.
No, I mean, I obviously, if I was going to make a statement, I would want to sit down and make sure I went through the
right. Of course. There's going to be someone in there who absolutely balled out that I'm not.
Yeah, I remember watching Andreas Martinson at a dev camp and being like, "What the." between him being able to smoke dudes and just like hit through them,
yeah,
and then some of the stuff that he did with his hands in a dev camp when he wasn't in a hockey situation, like Andreas Martinson looked like the shit at his dev camp when he signed his ELC when he came over. So anybody trying to get really excited about Wenger-Lee, keep that in mind. Andreas Martinson was awesome at this thing.
Yep.
So that's a good reminder of like why you temper some of this stuff.
Why you wouldn't get on the hype train of
yeah, well, and like there were some moments from Ranta today that were really good.
Yep.
That obviously, like what he did to the poor defenseman out of the queue. He's got 3 names.
Yeah.
So they were doing basically like a 2-on-1-ish, 2-on-2-ish type thing. It was a transition drill. And Ranta just put his head down and
just goes outside and says bye.
Just on the outside of him, and this poor guy just never. He took 2 strides backwards, shit his pants fully and completely before getting to the blue line, turned around, and then just was like, he gone.
Yeah, I'll see you later, bud.
That's gone. That's over. And then made a perfect cross crease pass that ended up in the net. And it was just like it was one of those moments where you're just like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Because we were talking earlier in the day about different types of good skating.
Yep.
How like Foodie's he's got straight line speed, he's very bursty, he's got great acceleration, great balance. Whereas Sampo Ranta is very it's
a power.
Yeah, when he gets going, and it's not like it's not like trying to start a tanker or anything.
Right.
It doesn't take him
he can
forever.
Get speed just fine, but once he's moving, it's a freight train.
He is a load to handle.
Yeah,
and it was an impressive showing. And then but you keep in mind, like it's all good and well, all in the context of dev camp.
Right.
He dominated that, and that was all good and well. But like you keep in mind, he's not going to do that to very many pro level.
Of course not. But
we saw the same thing happen to Byram in the very first running of that drill, where he took 2 steps, he got beat, and Callahan Burke just dusted him.
Yep.
So you're trying, you keep things like that in mind, because it's really easy to watch what Sampo did to some of the lesser guys today and be like,
he's insane.
Yeah, like, oh my God, it's happening.
With that being said, though, as far as the tools go in his dev camp, he's got them all. He's got all the physical tools that you could ask of the guy.
And this is we talk about defensemen not being set up for a lot of success here.
Yeah.
This is like the camp for Sampo Ranta.
Yeah, right.
It's
built to make him look good. Great. Yeah.
And to go off and to kind of separate. And it sucks we don't have Evan right now, because
he'd probably give a counter take a little bit.
Yeah, Evan's got a different opinion on what Sampo did today. Yeah. But we both really liked what Sampo did. It was a good day for him. It was the kind of day that made dreaming on a guy's potential really easy.
Well, and look, that when you have a day and 2 days really like this for Sampo, the takeaway I have is look, he has the tools. Sure, maybe there's some question marks on his ability to think the game and get lost a little bit like we saw in the playoffs. But if you can take that guy's tools and just get him pointed the right direction and get him to go, he'll get value for you.
Yeah, but it's also really notable that there was, as good as Sampo has looked, Alex Newhook is on a completely
that I wasn't even going to
different
talk about him because that dude
different
is
level.
done. He is done with this dev camp. There is no reason he should be here.
Yeah, but it's important to me to note that, like, while we're talking about Sampo, and then while this will be immediately followed up with, he should still probably be in the AHL this year.
Very true.
It's because you look at a guy like Newhook. We
Yep.
don't know what Newhook's going to do his rookie year this year. We're talking about like 20 to 30 points, right?
Yep.
Like we're kind of looking for that sort of
year out of him. Yeah.
That sort of rookie year, like a very tempered expectation for him. And he is comically head and shoulders.
It's not close.
On a
it's
totally
not close.
Totally different level than what Sampo Ranta has been. He's doing everything at a much, much higher level, a much higher pace, very quick, the recovery, the competitiveness, the leadership of it, the actual execution of everything that's being asked of him. Alex Newhook does not belong here.
Straight up.
He is an NHL player in a development camp.
Yep. If there was any doubt in my mind that he wasn't ready for the NHL, this camp completely squashed it.
Yeah. Like this is if they pulled a guy out of NHL camp, not even like a star player. Pull Mikhail Maltsev out of the camp, and he's going to probably
completely murk this.
Yeah, but still would struggle to do what Newhook has done in the last 2 days. It's been not flawless, not like oh my god, unbelievable.
No one's perfect.
He's just done everything at a really high. He does not need to be doing this stuff.
Yep.
But what I've really liked from Newhook, and obviously like him showing out on ice is great, but I've liked the leadership where he's talking to the other guys. He's trying to help them. They're talking to him because he knows what he's doing. And the same is also true of Bowers doing this, where they're going through these two guys to ask a lot of questions and to try and get clarification. Okay, so you guys want me doing this? I should be doing this. Why am I doing these things this way? And those two guys are so far a really positive outlet and a positive extension of the coaching staff.
Yep. If they're giving out A's for this rookie tournament, both of them going to be wearing, and then probably Byram on the back end. But
yeah. So that's great, and with Ranta, like there's a lot to be excited about, but you got to see it in a game,
of course. When you bring your life back to reality and remember that this is a dev camp with Wenger-Lee's 23, but I think beyond him, the oldest. Klerman might be 22, I think, is the oldest guy there.
Yeah, I mean
and there's a handful of 17, 18-year-old kids.
Yeah, and they're like some of the ATO guys and stuff like have had there were some puck moments in the afternoon stuff from my guy Jack O'Brien that I really liked.
Yeah.
There were, Ryan Hofer,
he was solid today. Yeah.
Can't stop talking about the guy. He just keeps being noticeable. I wanted to see how he uses that 6'3" frame in a competitive situation. Well, he apparently knows the Bulyalski move.
Yep.
Go wide, put your head down, and force them to stop you.
Yep.
That's it. That's what he just keeps.
That's the move. So. Yeah. Wrap it up with the Lausoun a little bit, real quick.
No training camp roster yet.
Yeah, correct.
Lausoun, this is probably better. Your territory better. I think you probably watch him a little more closely than I did today. Certainly,
he was in a lot of ways, it was not a perfect day today, especially in the drills. You saw him struggle with some drills at the start. You saw him eat it in a couple of the skating drills. But what I really liked about those drills is he would struggle with it. There were some other guys who would just start cheating on the drills when they struggled with it. And instead, he would go talk to the coaches. He'd keep doing it. And by the end of the drill, he was usually nailing the drill. So to your point from yesterday's camp, there's a little bit more involvement today, I think, from him, where he wasn't just kind of coasting through as much. And then I really, really like the afternoon session. Obviously, getting to play next to Newhook and Bowers helps a little bit there, but a couple situations where you could ask him to be physical and he'd go into the corner and he'd knock someone off a puck. He'd compete. If he and I told you this at the rink too, AJ. If that dude can play with power in his game, he's gonna be good.
Yeah, and we were watching him, especially in the matchups against some of the junior guys.
Yeah,
and it was
because
like
that's his life for the next year.
He's gonna go play for the Barrie Colts. He's gonna score 40 goals in the OHL this year.
He's gonna dunk on some fools. It's gonna happen. So should be fun. Should be fun for a Lausoun. Yeah, that covers most of it. Any other thoughts for you, AJ?
I liked the competitiveness for today of the group as a whole. I really don't get into goaltenders when the defense is not getting played in front of them very much. But I thought Annanen showed well today.
He had some flashy ones in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he showed well today. I like Trent Miner battling the way that he has. We've seen him, he's small and
he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to work that much harder when you're a small goalie.
Yep. Just a quick side note for today that Brett Clark was supposed to be an assistant coach for the Eagles this year. He's been a development guy for the Avs.
Is no longer coaching.
Is no longer with the will be coaching the Eagles this year.
Yep.
I don't think that they have they stepped around it, but basically he don't want to get vaccinated.
Yep.
And we saw Sylvain Lefebvre got replaced on the Columbus coaching staff today.
Yep.
For the same reason. So not editorializing, just making sure that we touched on it. He was supposed to be part of the coaching staff. That answers the question of who the hell that random dude has been that none of us recognized. His name is Tim Branham.
And is the new Eagles coach.
Yep. He's the new assistant coach with the Eagles to replace Brett Clark this year. So that's the Haps.
That is the news. Anyway, yeah, that's it for today. I suppose tomorrow we will be doing our pod after the 3-on-3 rookie game, which happens in the evening. So probably late one after 9:00 Mountain. So stick around for that. We don't know. There's a chance that they try to stream the game. We'll see.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
So you tried to Periscope today.
It was pretty rough. Yeah.
And it was pretty pixelated. We'll see. We'll see if they're able to get it set up. If not, somebody hit us up tomorrow if they can't get a stream going, and we'll try.
Yeah, we'll try that. At very least, you can follow us on Twitter to follow what's happening in the game. So one way or another, we'll have you covered the best we can. Yeah, we will be doing a pod that evening.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we'll probably do it Saturday morning.
Yeah, so Friday night's game, we're actually going to do the pod Saturday morning, and then we will also do a post-game pod.
We will do
Sunday?
Proper post-game pod Sunday and Monday.
Yeah, immediately following the game. And then,
Then it's a training camp after that. Yeah,
it's full camp where all this talk about Sampo Ranta is going to be on. He's going to be like the 17th forward.
All of a sudden, that dude's going to disappear in the shuffle.
Yeah.
So, either way, another fun day of Dev Camp. I enjoyed it. Hope y'all enjoyed our thoughts on it. We are out of here for the day. Thank you, everyone, for watching, listening, however you consume the pod. We appreciate all of y'all. Hope to see you tomorrow night for our post 3-on-3 show. We will talk to you later.